Let me start with a question that most men, regardless of age or background, have quietly wondered at some point in their lives. Is there anything I can do to get bigger? It's a question whispered in locker rooms, searched late at night on the internet, and sometimes nervously asked in a doctor's office. Beneath it lies not just curiosity, but vulnerability, a reflection of how deeply personal and powerful the connection is between a man's body, his confidence, and his sense of identity. The conversation around size is far more than a discussion about numbers or anatomy. It is a mirror that reflects self-worth, cultural pressure, and the constant tension between perception and reality. Across decades of medical research and clinical observation, one truth becomes clear. The vast majority of men who worry about their size are, in fact, completely normal. In large-scale surveys involving tens of thousands of men worldwide, more than half reported dissatisfaction with the appearance or size of their penis. Yet, when their partners were asked, an overwhelming majority expressed satisfaction. This striking contrast reveals the depth of psychological dissonance many men experience, a gap between self-perception and external reality. It's not just a matter of measurements, but of mindset, where anxiety can distort what is already adequate into what feels insufficient. This anxiety is amplified by one of the most powerful forces of modern influence: pornography. The digital age has redefined what men consider normal by projecting exaggerated, curated, and often surgically or pharmacologically enhanced images of male anatomy. The result is a distortion of expectations so profound that it has reshaped how men view themselves in the mirror. What appears on screen is not anatomy, it is performance, carefully staged through lighting, angles, and sometimes even digital modification. These images don't represent the statistical or biological reality of male bodies. They represent the illusion of perpetual performance and perfection. When this illusion becomes the standard, real men inevitably fall short of a fantasy that was never attainable in the first place. The medically established average for erect penile length sits around 13 centimeters, or just above 5 inches. Anything within a reasonable range of this number is considered medically normal. A true medical condition known as micropenis, defined by a stretched or erect length of less than 7.5 centimeters, affects only a tiny fraction of the male population, around 1 in 1,000 men worldwide. Despite this rarity, cultural pressure has convinced many otherwise healthy men that they fall short. What they are truly struggling with is not length, but anxiety about length. The psychological burden has become so well recognized that clinicians now identify a specific form of distress known as small penis anxiety. The consequences of this anxiety are not trivial. Persistent worry about size can lead to lower self-esteem, depression, avoidance of intimacy, and even performance issues during sexual encounters. When confidence is shaken, desire follows, and the very experience men fear losing intimacy and connection becomes more difficult to sustain. In essence, the more one obsesses over inadequacy, the more that worry becomes self-fulfilling. Sexual satisfaction is not purely physical, it is deeply emotional, dependent on comfort, communication, and confidence. The search for enlargement has, unfortunately, created an entire industry built upon insecurity. Every year, men spend billions on unproven creams, pills, pumps, and injections that promise results unsupported by science. These products often claim to increase blood flow or stretch tissue beyond its biological capacity. In reality, no cream, supplement, or herbal remedy can structurally increase penile size. At best, they may temporarily improve circulation, leading to firmer erections, which can give the illusion of slight enhancement. But this is not growth, it's function. The body's connective tissues and smooth muscle cannot be permanently altered by topical or oral products. The promise is false. The marketing is emotional manipulation disguised as medical advice. The tragedy is that many men chasing these promises end up with more than just disappointment. Some suffer side effects from unregulated substances, hormonal imbalances, cardiovascular strain, or even erectile dysfunction caused by improper use of enhancement products. The internet has made these risks more accessible than ever, turning insecurity into opportunity for exploitation. When emotions run high, reason can fade, and the desire for instant transformation overrides caution. Beyond commercial scams lies an even darker side: invasive and dangerous procedures marketed as permanent solutions. Around the world, Unlicensed clinics offer injections of silicone, oils, or fillers directly into penile tissue. The result can be catastrophic. These materials can cause chronic pain, scarring, infections, deformity, and permanent loss of function. Even more extreme surgeries, such as suspensory ligament cutting or graft-based implants, are risky, with inconsistent results and high rates of dissatisfaction. While these operations may make the penis appear longer when flaccid, they rarely increase functional length during erection. The costs, physical, emotional, and financial, are staggering compared to the limited and often temporary results. In contrast, one non-surgical approach has shown measurable, though modest, effectiveness: traction therapy, also known as penile extenders. These mechanical devices apply gentle, consistent tension to the organ over extended periods. In clinical studies, men who used them diligently for several hours a day, across several months, experienced average increases of about 2 centimeters in stretched or erect length. The biological mechanism is simple yet profound: gradual, sustained stretching stimulates microcellular remodeling and tissue adaptation, much like orthodontic devices reshape alignment over time. However, success depends heavily on consistency and patience. It is not a miracle solution but a disciplined process, requiring commitment and realistic expectations. Men often abandon these methods prematurely, frustrated by the slow pace of progress. But here lies an important insight: the journey toward satisfaction should not be about speed or spectacle, but about self-awareness and self-care. A man who learns patience in pursuit of improvement gains more than centimeters. He gains discipline, control, and understanding of his body. There is another dimension, often overlooked: the mind. Psychological interventions, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, have proven highly effective for men struggling with size anxiety. In clinical settings, many men who receive counseling alone, without any physical intervention, report a complete resolution of distress. This demonstrates that perception, not anatomy, is often the true battleground. When men learn to see themselves through their partner's eyes, to detach self-worth from anatomy, the obsession begins to dissolve. Confidence, not circumference, becomes the defining measure of masculinity. Furthermore, focusing on overall sexual health has far greater impact than chasing physical alterations. The penis is not an isolated organ. It is part of a complex system influenced by vascular, hormonal, and psychological factors. Lifestyle habits that improve blood flow, regular exercise, a balanced diet, sufficient sleep, and stress management have a powerful effect on erection quality and sexual performance. Nutrients that support nitric oxide production, such as those found in beets, pomegranates, and leafy greens, enhance circulation naturally. Managing conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and obesity can restore vigor far more effectively than any enhancement product. In short, optimizing health optimizes performance. Hormonal balance plays an equally crucial role. Testosterone, the primary male hormone, governs libido, muscle strength, mood, and energy. Yet, excessive focus on boosting testosterone through unregulated supplements or anabolic substances can be dangerous. The proper approach lies in maintaining hormonal equilibrium through lifestyle and, if necessary, medically supervised therapy. True vitality is achieved through balance, not extremes. It is also worth emphasizing that satisfaction in intimacy depends on far more than physical size. Studies consistently show that factors such as emotional connection, communication, trust, and mutual pleasure have a stronger correlation with sexual fulfillment. When a man feels confident, attentive, and emotionally present, his partner's experience improves regardless of his anatomy. In relationships, the body is only one part of the equation. The mind and heart complete it. A man's worth cannot be reduced to numbers on a ruler. Society's obsession with comparison, whether in physical appearance, wealth, or success, breeds perpetual dissatisfaction. True strength lies not in conforming to unrealistic standards but in accepting and cultivating what one already possesses. The pursuit of improvement is noble when grounded in science, but it becomes destructive when rooted in shame. Learning to respect one's body, to treat it as something capable and worthy rather than flawed and inadequate, is the foundation of real confidence. For men still determined to pursue physical change, it is essential to approach the process with education and caution. Consult reputable healthcare providers, not anonymous online vendors. Understand that legitimate enlargement methods are slow, modest, and require persistence. More importantly, address the underlying psychological need driving the desire. Ask whether the goal is truly enhancement or validation. Many discover that once confidence improves, the perceived problem disappears. Health professionals encourage a holistic perspective, one that views the body and mind as interconnected. This means prioritizing cardiovascular health, managing stress, nurturing emotional intimacy, and maintaining open communication with one's partner. Such habits not only enhance performance but extend longevity, energy, and overall well-being. Confidence born from vitality is the kind that lasts. For men struggling silently with insecurity, know that you are far from alone. Your body is not broken. It is resilient, capable, and adaptable. The dissatisfaction you feel is often a reflection of unrealistic standards imposed by external influences. Learning to separate perception from reality is a powerful act of self-liberation. When you shift focus from what you lack to what you can control, your health, mindset, and connection with others, you begin to reclaim authority over your body and your confidence. At its core, this discussion is not about anatomy but about acceptance. Men deserve to feel comfortable in their own skin, to recognize that strength and masculinity are not measured by inches but by integrity, confidence, and care. Those who cultivate emotional intelligence and physical wellness inevitably project a presence far more magnetic than any physical enhancement could achieve. The science is clear. There are limited, evidence-based methods that can create small physical changes. But the greatest transformations occur not in size but in self-perception. When men stop comparing themselves to illusions and begin focusing on genuine health, they rediscover satisfaction. Intimacy flourishes when anxiety fades, and performance naturally follows confidence. So, to every man who has ever questioned his adequacy, understand this: your partner likely values your energy, kindness, humor, and attentiveness far more than your anatomy. The human experience of connection is built on trust, not measurement. Confidence is not found in a bottle, a device, or a procedure. It is built through understanding, patience, and care. At the end of the day, what defines you is not your size, but your presence. How you treat your body, how you show up for your partner, and how you carry yourself with self-respect. These are the true measures of manhood. When you begin to honor your body instead of criticizing it, when you approach health as empowerment rather than correction, everything changes. If you ever feel uncertain, speak to a qualified professional. Seek support rather than silence. The path to confidence is not a secret. It is simply one of knowledge, discipline, and self-compassion. Your value has never been dependent on comparison. It is inherent, undeniable, and far greater than you realize. Because, in truth, the most meaningful form of growth is not measured in centimeters. It is measured in confidence, vitality, and the ability to embrace who you already are.